Recording videos on a budget, especially if you have like a smartphone that doesn't cost so much, or you want to have a smartphone for recording stuff where you are not so eager to spend thousands of euros on, this might be the right device to do so. And it has even external microphone support because it has a 3.5mm headphone jack. I'm talking about the Xperia 10 Mark V. So let's get started. Here we have the budget device, the Xperia 10 Mark V. As you can see here, Sony logo, matte finish. It's not glass, it's plastic actually, as well as the edges are made out of plastic. You can see already the SIM eject tool, and there's something very, very cool for this device, especially for content creators. If you put it out, you can see micro SD card. Yes, you can put micro SD cards here because the internal space is only 128 gigabytes. It allows you to extend it to 2 terabytes if you want to. Then we have a nano SIM card slot as well. If you want to use a second SIM, you have the possibility to use eSIM there as well. Then of course we have on the top the headphone jack, 3.5mm. If you use a TRRS adapter or a headphone that has TRRS, then you are able to use it as microphone. There's another microphone hole if you want to use the internal mics. There is the volume rocker, fingerprint reader and power button, and at the bottom we have USB Type-C 2.0, sadly only, microphone as well, and the speakers are front firing here, and the earpiece also is there as a front firing speaker. 8 megapixel front cam. Then we have the 48 megapixel main camera sensor, 8 megapixel ultra wide and 8 megapixel telezoom camera, 2 times telezoom there only. And yeah, this is a walk through the device. The fingerprint reader is quite snappy, and the device unlocks pretty good and okay. The screen is a highlight 6.1 inch type, 6.1 inch screen, and pretty bright as well. Outside, outdoors, 1000 nits, no issue at all, so it can get pretty wide there as well. The only thing that you will notice when using is it's only 60 Hertz display. Full HD display, stretched of course, 21:9 aspect ratio, but it's a bit of a downside that we have here 60 Hertz. I would have at least seen 90 Hertz, even if Sony would like use the same magic trickery they used for 120 Hertz simulated on the 1 Mark, what was it, 1 Mark II or something like this. So this black frame insertion to have at least a little bit more fluid animations. Otherwise it is running fluid. As you can see, I don't have many apps installed because this is one of the cool things I can show you as well. Let's go out of here, let's go here. When you start up the device, it will ask you how much bloatware you want to install. So basically it gives you from Sony apps and from Google apps down below there, and you can say I don't want to install them, and then you have a fresh clean up system. So if you don't want booking.com, if you don't want Amazon shopping, you can just say I don't want it, and then you have a very clean system. In my version I have like 23 gigabytes free there, used there of the 128 gigabytes, but probably because I had like what was it, Amazon installed in the Sony News app and PlayStation and Creators app, probably it's using up a little bit more there, so it could be around 21 gigabytes that is used there. It's okay for the 128 gigabytes internal storage, but it's not a breakthrough there. Image quality settings. We don't have the creator mode that we know from the flagship devices from Sony, but we have also a very good standard mode and video image optimization for this screen. The screen is, by the way, very, very good, bright, but also the angles are pretty good. So it's much, much better than the predecessor, the 10 Mark IV, which had green tint issues, and the angles, if you have like tilted slightly, it was an OLED, but then you had completely different colors. It's not an issue here. When it comes to audio settings, quite interesting. You can of course use the 3.5mm audio jack for listening to wired audio, but also wireless audio is possible. We have 360 Reality Audio, 360 Upmix and DSEE Ultimate here. I don't have them turned on because I don't need it, especially because I don't have this highly compressed music that needs optimization, and I don't like the 360 Upmix so much, but you have the possibility if you want to do this. Otherwise, updates, there was a bit of a problem there. I got it with Android 13, probably the the vanilla version still, and I had to go through a pretty long cycle of updates. This was the first update, then I got a second update, still Android 13. As you can see here, Android 13 August 2023 security patches. Then I got the large update, 1.1 gigabyte with the Android 14 update, and then another patch here that brought Android 14 up to October 2023, and then I got another update, Android 14 December 2023, and another update, this is the last one, 400 megabytes to Android security update 1st of February 2024, which is the current version that I'm also running here on this device. The device runs fluid now, but when you install stuff and especially do a little bit more multitasking, you will see some stutter, especially installing stuff. I think it only has UFS 2.2, is a bit of slower there. And when you go like to your Google Newsfeed and something like this, you will end up sometimes with stutter. So if you're doing lots and lots of stuff there, keep that in mind. The SoC Snapdragon 695 is not the best here, but it offers 5G support, which works fine as well. I tested this out. The only thing that it's a bit of a downer is the Wi-Fi support. So Wi-Fi is only Wi-Fi 5. There's no Wi-Fi 6 support on this device, and this leads to a little bit slower download rates for me, and especially the upload rates as well. When I'm uploading videos, for example, via cable connect to my computer or my tablet, it will take a little bit longer there. But as you can only record 1080p with the cameras, and now we go and talk about the cameras, you can see the camera software is a different one than the one that we have on the Xperia flagship devices. We have a basic camera, but we have all the three lenses that we need to, like for example ultra wide angle, main, and 2x, and it really switches to the 2x, which is quite cool. We have a simple video mode there, and the video mode allows only for recording Full HD 16:9 with all three lenses, or you can go to Full HD 16:9 60 frames per second, but this is only supported on the main camera sensor, and this here is then a digital crop on the main camera sensor. It's not switching to the 2x zoom there, so you are then restricted. So if you want to record 60 frames per second in Full HD, then you can only use the main camera sensor there. Otherwise, let's check out the recording. I can show you that what is quite cool is when you're recording something here, for example, I can go to the ultra wide angle and it zooms out to the ultra wide angle. I can do it one time, it zooms in, it has a nice zoom effect, and even 2x is switching the lenses also during recording, which is quite nice. That was always like an issue with Sony devices, but this is working nicely and have like buttons to do this. So also Sony Listen to here, and this makes it very, very nice for vlogging as well. Like I said, you can use external microphones now as well, as long as you put them in via the 3.5mm headphone jack. I tried wireless ones via USB-C, but they did not seem to work. At least the ones that I tried did not work. Maybe if you found one that is working, write it down in the comments. Otherwise, yeah, this is pretty fine for vlogging. The front-facing camera, only 8 megapixel, might be a little bit, a stretch, but maybe I will try it out, even if it's like a very dark condition right now outside, a little bit catching a little bit of the rest light that is there. You can see my lights, studio lights are on already. And otherwise the device runs fluid. Like I said, you get updates still, at least 1 year still. I don't expect Android 15 to arrive for this device, but maybe Sony will extend its support. We have to see, but at least the security updates are coming fairly regularly, which is quite nice. And the device doesn't run super in benchmarks or in gaming or such things, but for a compact multimedia device with weather sealing, with a nice display, with long battery life, which might be also very useful for you, and the possibility to record audio during video recording, have good 1080p recording, good stabilization. I think this is a splendid device. And yeah, talking about all the good video recording capabilities and such things, let's check out the videos and maybe then also later on some photos to check out how good this performs in terms of photos. So the front-facing video on the Sony Xperia 10 Mark V, and this one has, I think, nice stabilization. I think it is a weak lens, 1080p and 8 megapixel lens only, and it's pretty noisy probably as well in stabilization, especially when the light is getting lower here. You will notice in the background it's pretty shaky, so I would not rely so much on this front-facing camera. I'll be completely honest with you, but this is at least for budget, if you stand still and Full HD recording, acceptable maybe. But what I would rather like to do is show you the back-facing cameras because they are way better. So this is the back-facing main camera that has 48 megapixels. It's pixel binning them together to 12 megapixels for photos, but for video what it gives you is a 1/2 inch size sensor, and this helps tremendously when it comes to light intake and such things. It is making the camera lens a lot smaller there, and the sensor is also very, very small, of course, 1/2 inch sensor there. So we have 1-inch type sensors on flagship devices and so on. But nevertheless, I think even in this dim lit situation, it is still acceptable as a main sensor there. For vlogging, definitely you get a little bit of background blur as well if you want to. And yeah, in lower lit situation, it is still not catastrophical like some of the smaller sensors are. Like for example, the ultra wide angle. I can switch during recording to the ultra wide angle, for example, and this is the ultra wide angle. You see that stabilization is a bit weaker there because only the main camera sensor has OIS, and especially in this dim lit situation, I think it is a bit of too weak and too noisy. But what do you think about this one here? When it comes to the ultra wide angle, you can of course in daylight, bright sunlight, just imagine we have bright sunlight in daylight, capture a lot more stuff here in this shot. What I can show you right now is a bit of a zoom test. So let's try to zoom in on the towers there in the background. First let's go to the 1x zoom. You can see also the white balance is a bit different there. If I go to 2x, then also the white balance again a bit different there. And there are the towers there. If I zoom in a little bit more, I can zoom out to 10 times. This is what you will get there. You can see it's pretty noisy for sure, but stabilization is nice and clear, so you can use it as well. I can press the button here and it's zooming out again to the 1x zoom lens. And yeah, what do you think about this quality here? I think for 1080p and for vlogging, where the image is also important, but more importantly the audio is way more important for your vlogs, and you just want to show and talk about stuff and show a little bit of stuff here and there. This is enough. Like I said, this is like vlogging on a budget, and really a budget, because we're talking about 250 euros plus a microphone maybe that costs like 10-15 euros or something like this, and an adapter or just directly a TRS microphone. Then we're talking about under 300 euros for a vlogging camera system, where you can also cut the video on your vlogging device and upload it directly to YouTube or some other vlogging media. And when it comes especially to the TikTok generation, where you want to have vertical video, 1080p is definitely enough for this. And with this one you will also not fail to create the content. So now we'll take some pictures as well, and we'll check out in this like dim lit kind of situation how the pictures will turn out. Let's check out the photos. Here you can see dim lit situation and selfie cam. Yeah, you can just kind of forget it, but it's too bluish and too noisy. The noise reduction is heavy there. It tries to recreate my eyes there, so recreate a little bit of detail, but you can see how mushy and how much detail loss there is in the background already. So at ISO 1250 you can forget about it. Maximum zoom, I tried it as well here, as you can see, which is quite nice. Yeah, you can see that there's an airplane. If I go to 100%, forget about it. We can get a little bit of bokeh with the main camera sensor, as you can see, and even in the dim lit situation I think it looks quite okay. It's a bit of noise going on with ISO 1600. But nevertheless, I think it is quite okay. Here also with the main camera sensor, it is like struggling also at ISO 800 with detail levels on. So it's definitely not a flagship kind of sensor. Ultra wide angle here, you can see also in this dim lit situation, quite soft all over the place. When it comes to macro photography, you have no dedicated macro cam, so you're utilizing the main camera sensor. You can see in the dim lit situation it's very hard to do. Yeah, with night bright lamps and lights, you can see HDR is not dimming them down completely, but at least doing a little bit here with the main camera sensor. And yeah, we get nice bokeh and nice detail level even there with the main camera sensor. So the main camera sensor is quite usable also in dim lit situations. Another day, and we have a bit of sunlight there. You can see ISO is directly at 50, and you have much more detail levels, and this sensor is shining there basically. It's not the sharpest 100%, but it's very, very natural in terms of color rendition. and this is quite nice. HDR is also good. This is 2 times zoom now, 2 times zoom lens is also quite nice. Yeah, detail level is not 100%, it's just 8 megapixels, you have to keep in mind. But I think it's, for 250 euros, doing quite a good job. You can zoom in even more here, maximum zoom, and as you can see here, yeah, forget about it. Forget about it. That was not even maximum zoom. This was like, I think, 5 times zoom. I forgot to turn on the zoom level here. There you can see it is 2 times zoom actually. No, it's not 2 times zoom, sorry. It's not stated. Max aperture, you can turn on. Am I blind, or doesn't it state the zoom level? Apparently it doesn't state the zoom level, which is a bit weird. In any way, this is, I think, the maximum zoom they can get, which is, I think, 8 times or something like this. And yeah, forget about it. Maximum zoom is like 2 times is okay. Macro shots, you can get away with the main camera sensor quite close there, and you can see detail levels are also nice there. Preserved nice bokeh as well. Ultra wide angle here. Actually, it's a main camera sensor, is it? Let me see. I think it's the ultra wide angle. Now it's the ultra wide angle. Yes, focal length is also. It's a bit weird that they don't have proper EXIF data here. So it's the ultra wide angle there, as you can see. It's a bit noisy already here with ISO 50. You can see a bit of noise going on, and it's on details bushy there for 8 megapixels. So yeah, it's not the best for sure. But at least the HDR is quite good, even though we have a bit of overexposure there. When it comes to zoom, this is the zoom lens now. This is the 2 times zoom, and you can go in even further. And this is quite nice because it's 10 times zoom here. I think it's 10 times zoom, and you can read everything there. So nice and sharp, as you can see. So this is not too bad, not too shabby here, I would say. Another shot here with the main camera sensor. We can see a bit of HDR, blue sky, so this is working fine. And shooting against the sun, you can see HDR, yeah, it's working. And yeah, this is the ultra wide angle again. And another shot with the ultra wide angle, you can see, yeah, it's struggling a little bit with the overexposure there, struggling a little bit with detail levels here and there. It's nice and wide, it's getting a bit softer towards the side for sure. And yeah, that's the ultra wide angle. Selfie cam, yeah, forgot about the selfie cam almost. At daylight, it's also doing quite a good job. It has nice HDR, as you can see, and the sun was behind me, so yeah, it managed to do this. Also, yeah, detail levels is 8 megapixels. It's not nothing to write home about, but it's okay, I would say, for this kind of what it is. Now let's come to low light indoors shot. See how much bokeh we can create with this device, and it's nice and sharp. You can see ISO 500. Thanks to OIS, we have also the shutter speed relatively low here, and still everything sharp. Selfie cam, forget about it. Just like it's trying to recreate stuff, as you can see here, but it's way too soft all over the place there. And this is the zoom lens here, as you can see here, 2 times zoom. I think it's doing quite a good job there in this artificial light. Timmy shot with the portrait mode, ISO 1600. You can see didn't really catch, and it's a bit of noisy there. I think it caught this here in the background there. And this is me with the portrait mode. It's selfie mode. And you can see, yeah, again, this like dream kind of look a little bit there, trying to recreate my face. I'm not so sure if this is the best. And then at night time, forget about the zoom lens. It's like way too noisy and too shaky. You cannot read anything at the maximum zoom there. And this ultra wide angle struggle a little bit with the HDR here in the background, as you can see here, and it's quite soft all over the place there. Yeah, but remember, it's just 250 euros, and the shutter speed astonishingly was quick. Unlike all the other Xperia 10 devices I tested that always had like this mega shutter lag, like you have to wait almost a second for it to take the shot. Here it is not anymore the case, so they really improved this. And this helps tremendously with little flowers that you want to photograph with the portrait, with the macro-like capabilities. This is now the main camera sensor, as you can see. You get quite close with it, and you can see lots of detail, which is quite nice. And yeah, but back to the beginning there. So yes, I think for 250 euros we have a very flexible camera system, but of course this is not going to win against a Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 or after something like this series. I think this is in the ballpark of around 200 to 300 kind of euros for this camera setup. Usually you don't get free cameras that are usable in this category. You only get one main sensor and maybe an ultra-wide angle that is barely usable. But here you get really, like, I think 3 usable lenses if you have enough light. In the dark, of course, only the main camera sensor is really usable, I would say. But at light, if you have lights and don't go zoom in so much, the ultra-wide angle and the zoom lens are quite capable. And even the selfie cam is not so shabby at daylight, but at nighttime, of course, it's falling apart there for the selfie cam for sure. So what do you think about the photos here on the Xperia 10 Mark V? The Xperia 10 Mark V surprised me a little bit with its camera performance. I think the performance of the operating system is mediocre at best, and they really should have put in a Snapdragon 6 Gen 1 or whatever that was available, or even a Snapdragon 7 generation there, or a faster screen, because a 60 Hz screen is making it a little bit slow. Maybe even 90 Hz would have solved the issue here on this device of the operating system not feeling so slow and sluggish. Nevertheless, they optimized a lot in comparison to the predecessor. Even though the processor stayed the same, the operating system is quite more snappy here and applications run a bit more fluid. But occasionally you get the stutters here, which is like a bit of an issue. But for 250 euros, I cannot complain. For 430 or 440 euros that this device cost originally, of course I have to complain. But for 250 euros, I think it is okay-ish there, because you get like a very, very good and competent and flexible camera system here on the back, which is quite nice. The selfie cam is okay, but nothing to write home about. And yeah, I would say together with the headphone jack, with USB-C, the fast possibility to just simply put your micro SD card out or put a new one in for extendability, is really a bit of a rare kind of thing in the smartphone world, even for this kind of mid-range device. So overall, I'm pretty happy about the Xperia 10 Mark V, but I can only recommend it to you if you can get it under 300 euros. So in the ballpark of roughly 250 euros. If you have to pay more, then probably you'll maybe end up with another device that is a bit better in lots of terms. So that's it for my first look, unboxing and first impressions video of the Xperia 10 Mark V. If you want to see more about the Xperia 10 Mark V, write it down in the comment section. Until the next time, bye.